Hey everyone, welcome to Beyond the Gates. I'm Alessio, and I'm so excited to have you here. If you love Beyond the Gates, then you're in the right place. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Alright, let's dive right in. Dani Dupree Hamilton paced the sun-drenched conservatory of the Dupree family estate. The air was thick with the scent of blooming orchids and the faint, lingering trace of her morning espresso, but Dani's mind was far from the serenity of her surroundings. She clutched her phone, scrolling through messages from Nicole, her sister-in-law whose life had become a whirlwind of indecision and heartache. No stranger to bold moves herself. After all, it was Dani who had orchestrated the family's pivot from old money real estate scandals to tech investments that had them rubbing elbows with DC power players. Dani knew it was time to intervene. "Nicole, honey, you've been dancing around this long enough," she said aloud to the empty room, her voice a melodic command honed from years of boardroom battles and family mediations. She dialed, and when Nicole picked up, the line crackled with a tension of unspoken regrets. "Dani? What's got you calling at this hour?" "I'm knee-deep in spreadsheets for the gala committee." Nicole's tone was light, but Dani could hear the strain, like a violin string pulled too taut. "Spreadsheets can wait, darling. Life can't. It's time for you to make a move, one of those bold, no-turning-back kind. You've got two men pulling at you like tides, but you're the shore, Nicole. Decide, or the waves will crash right over you." There was a pause, the kind that hung heavy with possibility, and Dani pressed on, her words weaving through the receiver like silk threads. "Remember when I walked away from that merger last year? Everyone thought I was crazy. But look at us now. Trust your gut. Ted's steady, Carlton's fire. But which one lights your world without burning it down?" Nicole sighed, a sound that carried the weight of Fairmont Crest's gilded burdens, and Dani smiled, knowing the seed was planted. Across the community, in the shadowed corners of the Crest's exclusive club, things were about to get downright crazy, as Leslie Dupree, with her sharp bob haircut and sharper tongue, leaned across a marble-topped table toward Hayley, her eyes gleaming with the mischief of old alliances reformed. "Hayley, my dear, we've tiptoed around this long enough. The Duprees are fraying at the edges, secrets spilling like cheap champagne at a bad wedding. It's time we form a scheme team, you and I. No more playing nice with the ghosts in this family." Hayley, nursing a mimosa that had long gone flat, glanced up from her phone, where a text from her estranged brother lingered unread. Her laughter bubbled up, tentative at first, then full-throated. "Leslie, you're incorrigible. Scheme team? What are we, 12-year-olds plotting to raid the cookie jar? Though, God knows, Martin's been hoarding more than cookies lately." Leslie's grin widened, predatory and playful, as she clinked her glass against Hayley's. "Oh, darling, think bigger. We're talking about unraveling the knots your father tied around this place. Eva's lurking, Izaiah's mooning over Kat like a lost puppy, and don't get me started on Samantha's little reunion drama. We scheme, we win, we sip rose while the world burns." The two women huddled closer, their whispers blending with the distant hum of lawnmowers, plotting moves that would ripple through Fairmont Crest like stones in a still pond, turning allies into adversaries and truths into weapons. Meanwhile, in the sunlit kitchen of a neighboring mansion, Samantha Dupree stood frozen, her hands gripping the edge of the granite island as her mother, recently unearthed from a decade of estrangement like some long-buried family heirloom, faced her across the room. The air between them crackled with the residue of old wounds, the kind that festered under polite smiles at community barbecues. "Samantha, you can't just waltz back into my life expecting open arms after what you did," her mother, Evelyn, said, her voice steady but laced with the bitterness of years spent nursing grudges in silence. Samantha's eyes, dark and stormy, flashed with defiance. "What I did? Mother, you vanished when I needed you most, left me to pick up the pieces after Dad's affair blew everything apart. And now you show up, all contrite and teary-eyed, because suddenly the Dupree name needs polishing." Evelyn stepped forward, her silk blouse whispering against the tension, and placed a hand on Samantha's arm, only to have it shrugged off. I was protecting you, child. From the ugliness, from Martin's lies that poisoned everything. But here we are, at odds again, because you see betrayal where there was sacrifice. Samantha whirled away, tears stinging, her voice breaking as she hurled words like daggers. Sacrifice? It felt like abandonment. And now, with the family splintering, Hayley's schemes, Nicole's messes, where do you fit? Savior or saboteur? The argument escalated, plates clattering in the sink as metaphors for their shattered bond, until Evelyn's quiet plea cut through. Let me prove it, Sam. Starting today. But the rift lingered, a chasm in the heart of Fairmont Crest that no apology could bridge yet. Over at the community pool, where palm fronds swayed lazily in the breeze, Izaiah lounged on a chaise, his athletic frame tense beneath board shorts, stealing glances at Kat as she emerged from the water, droplets glistening like diamonds on her skin. He had always admired her fire, the way she navigated the Dupree undercurrents with unapologetic grace, but today, with Eva's shadow looming larger than ever, he needed clarity. Kat toweled off, oblivious at first, until she caught his stare and sauntered over, her bikini a bold slash of crimson against the azure tiles. Izaiah, if you're going to brood like that, at least buy me a drink first, she teased, dropping onto the lounger beside him, her laughter light but her eyes searching. He leaned in, voice low and urgent. Kat, I can't keep pretending. Eva, she's pulling strings, whispering doubts, but it's you I see in every quiet moment. Tell me straight. Where do we stand? Kat's expression shifted, the playfulness evaporating as she met his gaze, her words tumbling out raw and unfiltered.
Eva?
That woman's a hurricane in heels, Izaiah, charming 1 minute, destructive the next. She thinks she can waltz in and claim what's not hers. But me? I feel about Eva the way you feel about a bad investment. Exciting at first, then nothing but regret. You're the steady ground I need, not her chaos. Izaiah's breath caught, relief flooding him like cool water, and he reached for her hand, their fingers intertwining as the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows that mirrored the complexities ahead. Then let's stop dancing around it. No more games. Kat squeezed back, her smile fierce.
Deal.
But watch your back. Eva doesn't lose quietly. As the day faded into twilight, the gates of Fairmont Crest seemed to creak a little wider, inviting the madness that Monday had sown. The next morning dawned crisp and charged, the kind of October day where leaves swirled like confetti at a scandalous debutante ball, and in the echoing halls of the Dupree law firm downtown, Anita Dupree straightened her pearl necklace, steeling herself for the confrontation that had simmered for months. Beside her stood Vernon, her husband of decades, his salt and pepper beard trimmed impeccably, but his jaw set like granite. They had summoned Martin and Smitty, 2 pillars of the firm's old guard, fathers to daughters entangled in the family's web, to the mahogany-paneled conference room, where crystal decanters of scotch waited like silent judges. Gentlemen, Anita began, her voice a velvet blade as she took her seat at the head of the table. We've danced around this long enough. Our daughters, Nicole, Vanessa, they're caught in crossfires we ignited with our silences. Time for truths. Martin, ever the silver-tongued patriarch, leaned back, swirling his glass, his eyes narrowing. Anita, always the mediator. But what's this about? Some gossip from the crest. Vernon cleared his throat, his baritone rumbling like distant thunder. It's about loyalty, Martin. And betrayal. Smitty, you knew about Eva's maneuvers with the trust funds. Hell, you signed off on rerouting assets that should have gone to the girls. We built this firm on trust, not shadows. Smitty, shorter and stockier, with a face etched by too many late nights, shifted uncomfortably, his fingers drumming the table. Vernon, it was business. Eva came to me with numbers that added up, better returns, less exposure. Martin's call on the final nod. Martin shot him a glare, sharp as a deposition cross-exam. Don't drag me under, old friend. We all bent rules to keep the Dupree name shining. But if Anita's here waving the flag of overdue discussion, fine, let's air it. Eva's playing both sides, whispering to Hayley, cozying up to Izaiah. It's fracturing us. Anita leaned forward, her gaze pinning them like butterflies to corkboard. Exactly. And our daughters pay the price. Nicole's torn, Vanessa's doubting loyalties. End it, or we'll burn these bridges ourselves. The room thickened with unspoken accusations, glasses clinking like toasts to fragile truces, as the four elders hashed out alliances forged in boardrooms and broken in bedrooms, their dialogue a symphony of regret and resolve that echoed back to Fairmont Crest. Back in the gated enclave, under a sky bruised with gathering clouds, the men in Nicole's life, Ted, the dependable architect with his easy smile and calloused hands from building dreams, and Carlton, the flashy venture capitalist whose charisma could light up a blackout, collided in the most public way imaginable, at the weekly farmers market on the community green. Nicole had slipped away to browse artisanal cheeses, hoping for a moment's peace, but fate, that capricious soap scribe, had other plans. Ted spotted her first, weaving through stalls laden with heirloom pumpkins and fresh lavender, his voice warm as he approached. Nicole, perfect timing. I was just thinking about that cabin we talked about Halloween getaway, just us, no drama. But before she could respond, Carlton strode up, his designer loafers crunching gravel, a bouquet of exotic orchids in hand like a gauntlet thrown. Cabin? Sounds quaint, Ted. But Nicole deserves Paris, not pine trees. Am I right, love? The air crackled, shoppers pausing mid-barter to gawk as the two men squared off, Ted's posture straightening like a beam under load. This isn't a bidding war, Carlton. Nicole's not a prize, she's gotta say. Carlton's laugh was sharp, drawing murmurs from the crowd. Oh, but she does, and history says she picks the spark over the sparkler. Remember Monaco, Nick? That was us. Nicole stepped between them, her cheeks flushing beneath flawless makeup, voice slicing through like a scalpel. Enough. Ted, your steadiness grounds me. Carlton, your fire excites me. But this, public brawling like teenagers? It's beneath us all. The men deflated, egos bruised amid the scent of cider and cinnamon, but the clash lingered, a viral whisper rippling through Fairmont Crest's group chats, amplifying the chaos. Not far off, in the shaded arbor of the market's edge, Chelsea and Kat huddled over steaming lattes, their conversation a confessional under the rustling vines. Chelsea, with her influencer poise and perfectly curated curls, sipped thoughtfully. Kat, spill. Eva's got Izaiah wrapped, but you? You're the one he needs. Don't let her games dim your light. Kat nodded, vulnerability cracking her armor. It's exhausting, Chels. Eva's all honeyed words and hidden knives. I just want real with him, with us. Their words flowed, intimate and unguarded, plotting a subtle counter to Eva's machinations, a quiet dinner to reclaim stolen moments. But unbeknownst to them, Leslie lingered nearby, feigning interest in a stall of handmade soaps, her ears attuned like a fox to the hunt. She slipped away, phone in hand, texting Hayley with glee. Ears on the ground, Chelsea and Kat just handed us gold. New plan, leverage this, strike at Eva's core. The scheme team's web tightened, Chelsea and Kat's trust unwittingly fueling a fire that would blaze through the week, turning whispers into wildfires in the heart of the Crest. By Wednesday, the air in Fairmont Crest hummed with the electricity of unraveling facades, and in the sleek minimalist loft that Joey called home, walls lined with abstract art and floor-to-ceiling views of the Potomac, Joey Dupree faced Elon across a breakfast bar strewn with half-eaten croissants and cooling coffee. Elon, with his tousled hair and tech bro intensity, had always been the wild card in Joey's meticulously ordered world, but today, Joey's patience snapped like a brittle twig. Elon, listen to me, Joey said, his voice a low growl as he set down his mug with deliberate force, the porcelain clinking like a gavel. This thing between us? It's mine to steer. Not your algorithms, not your late-night pitches for us against the world. I say when we accelerate, when we break. Elon leaned back, a smirk playing on his lips, but his eyes betrayed a flicker of uncertainty. Joey, come on, we're a power couple, disrupting the Dupree status quo. Why fight the momentum? Joey crossed his arms, his tailored shirt straining against broad shoulders, and fixed Elon with a stare that could curdle cream. Because momentum without control is a crash, darling. You've been flirting with Hayley behind my back, dropping hints about alliances. I'm in charge here. Our relationship, our secrets. Cross me again, and you'll find yourself debugged. The room fell silent save for the distant honk of DC traffic, Elon's smirk fading into resignation as he nodded. All right, Captain. Your wheel. Joey's smile returned, triumphant and tender, sealing the hierarchy with a kiss that promised both passion and peril. Meanwhile, across town in a sunlit cafe overlooking Rock Creek Park, Dani met Vanessa for an impromptu brunch, the clatter of silverware underscoring the gravity of their exchange. Dani had harbored doubts about Vanessa's priorities, torn between her cutthroat career in philanthropy and the family's deepening fissures. But today, those shadows lifted like morning mist. Vanessa, spill it straight, Dani urged, spearing a forkful of avocado toast, her eyes locked on her cousin's. The gala's in weeks, but with Eva circling like a shark. Where's your head? Sore. The spotlight. Vanessa set down her mimosa, her manicured nails tapping the stem, and met Dani's gaze with unyielding clarity. Doubts cleared, Dani. The spotlight's a stage, but family? That's the script I live. Eva's poison. I've seen her twist Hayley, undermine Nicole. My priorities? Protecting the Duprees, starting with cutting her off at the knees. No more waffling. Dani's relief washed over her, a warm tide, and she raised her glass. Then we're unbreakable. To scheme teams and sisterhood. Their toast rang out, a vow amid the cafe's bustle, erasing Dani's hesitations and fortifying the front against encroaching storms. Back at the law firm, the conference room from the day before still smelled of aged scotch and fresh resolve, but now Martin and Smitty paced like caged lions, their faces thunderous masks of paternal fury. That girl, our Hayley, Martin growled, slamming a fist on the table, sending files scattering like fallen leaves. Scheming with Leslie? Against her own blood? It's treason, Smitty, pure and simple. Smitty nodded, his jowls quivering with rage, veins bulging at his temples. And Eva's fingerprints all over it. Livid doesn't cover it, Martin. My Nicole's caught in the blast radius. And for what? Some power play that leaves daughters as collateral. They paced in unison, voices overlapping in a duet of indignation. We raise them better, strong, loyal. Not this backstabbing farce. Damn right. Time to draw lines, old friend. No more enabling. Their agreement, forged in shared fury, was a pact of fathers scorned, vowing to reel in wayward heirs before the family empire crumbled. In a quieter corner of Fairmont Crest, one Dupree, Samantha, her mother's words still echoing, faced tough questions from Anita in the estate's library, surrounded by leather-bound tomes that held more secrets than solace. Sam, level with me. Anita pressed, her elder's wisdom gentle but insistent as she poured tea from a silver service. Your reunion with Evelyn, it's stirring ghosts. Is she here to heal or haunt? Samantha sank into an armchair, the weight of inquiry pressing down. Tough questions, Anita. She's family, but the odds. Abandonment lingers like a scar. Says she's changed, but trust? That's the real estate we're short on. Anita nodded, her hand steady on Samantha's knee. Then asked the hard ones. For you, for us. Across the community, Izaiah wandered the winding paths of the Crest's private gardens, the crunch of gravel underfoot mirroring the churn in his soul. Kat's confession had ignited hope, but now a life-changing decision loomed. Uproot his roots in Fairmont for a job offer in New York, trading gated security for skyline ambition. Stay or go? He murmured to the roses, pondering the pull of love against the lure of legacy, his solitude a prelude to choices that would redefine the Dupree tapestry. Thursday brought a chill wind rattling the gates of Fairmont Crest, carrying whispers of autumn's end and relationships teetering on precipices, as Derek, ever the impulsive romantic, nursed a scotch in a dimly lit lounge, replaying his encounter with Andre from the night before. Andre, the enigmatic artist with paint-flecked hands and a gaze that pierced like a brushstroke, had cornered him at a gallery opening, their conversation laced with old flames and new yearnings. "Derek, you're still chasing shadows," Andre had said, his voice husky over clinking glasses. "That girl of yours, Madison? She's fire. But am I the spark you miss?" The words had haunted Derek through sleepless hours, culminating in a bold move. A text to Madison. "We need to talk, really talk. About us, about ending this charade." Now, as he hit send, his heart hammered, the encounter with Andre a catalyst for honesty long overdue. Madison's reply buzzed in. "My place. Now." Their reunion unfolded in her loft, words tumbling like autumn leaves. "Derek, if this is goodbye, make it count," she said, eyes fierce. "But if it's real, fight for it." He pulled her close, the decision sealed in a kiss that bridged the gap Andre had exposed. Meanwhile, in the cozy nook of a bookstore cafe, Ted and Leslie met under the guise of old friends catching up, but the air thrummed with tentative possibility. Ted, still smarting from the market clash, fiddled with his coffee stir. "Leslie, this is mad. We're oil and water, history's wreckage. But moving forward, as a pair? Could we?" Leslie's laugh was soft, surprising even herself, as she traced the rim of her cup. "Ted, darling, I've schemed my way through worse. You're steady, I'm storm. Together? We might just weather it. But Nicole's shadow looms. Can we try?" Their hands met across the table, a fragile pact forming amid the scent of aged paper and fresh brews, testing if second chances could bloom in barren soil. Over at the community tennis courts, Tyrell, sweat slicked from a grueling match, caught sight of his estranged girlfriend, Lena, watching from the sidelines, her arms crossed but her eyes softening. He had fumbled their bond with late nights and half-truths, but today, victory in hand, he approached, racket slung over his shoulder like a trophy. "Lena, that last serve? For you. Point scored, but off-court? I miss us." She uncrossed her arms, a smile cracking her reserve. "Tyrell, words are cheap. But that backhand, impressive. Maybe you're turning it around." He dropped to one knee, not proposal, but plea, offering a wildflower plucked from the court's edge. "Big points, then. Dinner? Real talk." Lena's nod was tentative, a bridge rebuilt stroke by stroke, earning him the win that mattered most. As evening fell, Vernon and Nicole's Halloween plans, a costume bash at the estate, ghosts and glamour intertwined, unraveled spectacularly when an interloper, Eva herself, slinked through the doors in a slinky witch's gown, her smile a spell of disruption. Vernon, Nicole.